This train has had quite an adventure. Before we boarded, it got stuck in a record-breaking blizzard on Donner Pass. It managed to make up some time across Utah, but then had to deal with heavy snow in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. After passing a wildfire near Denver during the night, we're finally out of the mountains and onto the plains. We should be able to make up some time now that we're away from all the snow and ice of the mountains. What's that? An ice storm warning? Where? Part of Nebraska? All of Iowa? And part of Illinois? Oh boy. It's an adventure! Well, where are we? Well, that sign on the station says Hastings, Nebraska. Let's check the timetable. 1:42 a.m. That was a while ago. That makes us, what, 6, maybe 7 hours late? Understandable, considering all the weather, but still. We're not getting to Chicago on time. Well, we can at least try to minimize how late we are. We'll go as fast as we can until we get to the ice storm. Of course, the schedule is structured so that we will sleep through the more boring scenery and be awake for the interesting scenery. But that means that when we're late, we get daylight in Nebraska. So we get to see grain elevators. And if we wait a little longer, we just might get to see, look, more grain elevators. Jokes aside, I actually like Nebraska's scenery. It's just not something I want to watch roll by all day. Fortunately, we do get a change of scenery in the ice storm. The storm itself is a ways ahead of us. We just get to see the aftermath of it all the way across Iowa and Illinois. It's a different kind of winter wonderland, especially when you look at the trees and the shrubs and the grass right next to the tracks. We've reached Lincoln, Nebraska. That's progress. We pass the campus of the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, and then roll past a train of wind turbine blades, before arriving shortly thereafter in Omaha, Nebraska. The platform here in Omaha is very slippery thanks to the ice storm, so we won't stay out here for long. Just long enough to catch a little fresh air and watch a freight train go by, while walking very gingerly. While most of it isn't a train station anymore, we get a nice look at Omaha's Grand Station as we walk back to the train. A couple of large locomotives watch us pass from the hill above the Missouri River. These are one big boy locomotive and one Centennial diesel locomotive. The location is Kennefic Park, which is open to the public, and definitely worth a visit if you're in Omaha. Soon, it's time to cross the Missouri River ourselves, and cross over into Iowa. The two tracks of the railroad cross over on separate bridges. I assume one was built before the other, and it was easier to build a second bridge than double-tracking the first bridge. The river below us is mostly frozen. Since Amtrak trains don't usually carry much of a surplus of food, the dining car staff broke into their emergency supply of beef stew to feed all of us the extra meal we needed before Chicago. Well, far from the best meal I've had on an Amtrak train, it wasn't bad. I almost went back for seconds when they were offered.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we do have some more water and some snacks in the observation car. Please make sure, take what you want. I just set it up on the counter right there before the stairs. Take the snacks, take the waters, okay? Here we go.
Night is falling by the time we cross the Mississippi River in Burlington, Iowa. We really haven't made up any time. We're going to be 7 hours late in Chicago. But we've been well taken care of. We still have comfortable beds and comfortable seats. We got a hot meal for supper. And as he said, there are plenty of snacks and water available in the observation car. If you're going to get delayed while traveling, this is just about the best form of transportation to get delayed on. We're not stuck in an airport wondering what to do next. That's another story. And we're not stuck driving down the road until we get to somewhere. There's nothing to do but sit back, relax, and wait till we get to Chicago. And hey, those look like suburbs. I think we're getting close. We're almost all alone in the Sightseer Lounge, watching the final miles roll by. And yep, that's definitely Chicago, though it's hard to see the skyline through the fog. And of course, my camera managed to malfunction at the worst time, so I didn't manage to record any sound while the crew was giving their "Welcome to Chicago and Happy New Year" message. Oh well. The curve off of the BNSF main line and into the Metra and Amtrak coach yards south of Union Station is very recognizable, so it's easy to tell that we're almost there. There's another video on the channel that gives a much better view of the Metra and Amtrak coach yards in daylight. The most interesting thing we see there tonight are some of the brand new Siemens Venture coaches. Well, I realize they're not brand new anymore, they've been in service for a couple years now. But when I shot this video, they were brand new. This was the first time I'd ever seen them. And some of the ones parked in the station still had plastic covers on the seats. We've just passed under the famous Roosevelt Road Bridge, a favorite spot for rail fans watching Metra and Amtrak trains at rush hour. As we roll through the coach yards and approach Union Station, I want to thank you for coming along on this adventure. And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we did. Though honestly, I'm sure you didn't. This is one of those things that you really just have to experience for yourself. I hope you get a chance to ride the California Zephyr yourself someday. Despite the delays, I came out of this trip looking forward to my next trip on the Zephyr, which came a lot sooner than I expected. Stay tuned for that video. That was a real adventure. Since we arrived so late, Amtrak gave us compensation in the form of a $200 Amtrak travel voucher. We immediately started thinking about what trips we could take with that. It ended up paying for almost half the trip. And again, that's the subject of another video. Stay tuned. At long last, we pull into Chicago Union Station, with brand new Siemens Venture coaches on our right, and the Lakeshore Limited getting ready to leave on our left. While the sight of all these trains in the station might beckon to new adventures, at this point, we were ready to get home. Thank you for coming along on the California Zephyr Adventure. If you've enjoyed riding along on Amtrak with me, you'll be happy to know that there are 2 more similar videos in the works at the time of this recording. So you can check out the channel for those in the future, and for plenty of other railroading videos now. Until next time, though, happy travels and happy rail fanning.